many of you know, we've been sharing now for several weeks the metaphor of the burning building or a burning building. When we speak of a burning building, we're referencing being involved or entangled in a relationship, that forbidden relationship, the relationship that you cannot seem to break away from. You've had many opportunities to make a plan of escape, to exit the building, to leave the situation. You're not happy, you're troubled, going through emotions like depression. Some have been dealt with suicidal ideations. And so we've been sharing again on the burning building, anywhere in life where we're tied to something or someone that we're having difficulty breaking away from. Particularly those things or people who are not purposed or destined for our lives. So today we want to talk about unlawful entry, when we've been given a way of escape, or when we exited that building and the door was shut behind us, but then we broke in, we trespassed, we went in without permission. We want to talk about that today. I'm your host, Dr. Lydia Michelle Young. I'm here with my co-host, Intercessor Janina Coe is in the studio. And this is Middle of the Week Wednesday, midweek with Fresh and Fire. We appreciate all of you who tune into Sweet Fire, the podcast. Matter of fact, if you have any ideas or any topics that you would like for us to discuss, you can let us know. You can chime in, and we'll do just that. But here we go. Come on in, jump in. Intercessor.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, for tuning in to another episode of Sweet Fire, the podcast. Again, I'm loving this metaphor that we've been honing in on now for several weeks, because I do believe it is a metaphor that many can relate to. It doesn't matter, the generation, the age, the demographics, the culture. The burning building is a metaphor that many of us can relate to. It's, being in some type of situation, a relationship of some sort, and things just went awry. And before you know it, it just seems as if, that person's world just began to come down, as if that building just began to crumble and fall into pieces. So again, really I'm loving this metaphor, and looking forward to jumping in on this evening.
That's it. And so you said that burning building, it does crumble. It goes up in smoke. Mm-hmm. But when I've been given an opportunity to escape that burning building, to exit that burning building, to even after exiting the burning building, the relationship, the addiction, I've even had a season of healing. Mm-hmm. And so what about when we heal, when we have a level of healing, when we have a level of overcoming, when we're doing better, we're more healthy in our thought process, we're more healthy in the way we function. Mm-hmm. Now we can function because we're not in that dysfunctional, addictive relationship anymore. Mm-hmm. But what happens when we do receive healing, and then here comes that phone call, or we run into that situation, that person, that thing, that substance? Now, unlawful entry. We're back into a situation, perhaps, that forbidden place.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. And again, this is awesome, because that happens to many of us, right? Those who have been, addicted to alcohol, or, been addicted to drugs. Oftentimes that R word does happen, that relapse. They've gone through the steps of recovery, but then, that drug is presented to them again, and they're found relapsing, right? Or they find themselves in a tough situation, and all they can recall is in times past being in a tough situation, and how they dealt with it, how they coped with it was getting that high. And that does happen. I know that's happened for me, being in a toxic relationships. You've gone through the healing process, but then you find yourself relapsing and entering back into that burning building, and then what happens? Then we're trespassing. A way has been made. A way has been made to exit that building. A way has been made to get off of that drug. A way has been made to leave that toxic relationship. But then we find ourselves going back, looking in that rear view mirror, just a little too long.
Right.
That rear view is supposed to just be a quick little glimpse, right? But we find ourselves fixated on that rear view. And then what happens? We turn the vehicle around and we go back to the burning building.
Right. So the rear view too is so that we're aware of the attack that's coming up from behind.
Right.
We have to stay aware and stay alert. And when we talk about a burning building that's really gone up in smoke, we're returning to a dark place with no walls.
Right.
There's no door. Everything is up in smoke. Now everything is down and has collapsed and it's been destroyed.
Right.
But we enter into now, it's just a dark place.
Right.
With no hope. It's just a dark place. With depression, all types of different spirits, if I can say, that are in that place. And we position ourselves in a place, in that forbidden place. So now there's penalties. Why? Because we've trespassed. We have penalties to pay. Why? Consequences. Why? Because we've trespassed. We remain on a property. We go back to a property, a burning building or a burning situation without permission. We're entering into an area. We're entering into a vein that we don't have the right to be in. Now we're out of our territory.
Right.
We're on the wrong terrain. Right. We're go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, we're on the wrong terrain, and we're trying to we're trying to rebuild. Right.
Yes.
We're trying to rebuild a building that has already burned down.
That's good
right.
stuff.
We're trying to rebuild a building that has already burned down. So not only are we trespassing, we're violating different ordinances, right? Because that place where that building once stood, it is now burned down. It's rubble. It's ashes. There's a recovery process that land, that specific area needs to go through, right? Before we can rebuild, before a building can be built up, right? So now we've entered back in and we're trying to fix an unfixable situation.
Unfixable situation. Trying to build a building that's been burnt down.
Right.
And what are your tools to build with? What are you building with? Still toxicity?
Right.
Pain? Have you changed it all?
Right.
As the individual who you left?
Right.
Or where that relationship was severed, so to speak. Now you're back. What are you using to build? Are you using pain? Are you using anger? What are the underlying factors? Are you using frustration to build? What are you built? What are your tools? What do you have to use to rebuild a building that's been burnt down?
Right. It's just going to be a greater explosion. Right? Because what are you using to try to rebuild? What are you using? Yeah, it's just going to be a greater explosion.
And then what happens? It leaks. It affects. There's an overflow where others could be affected.
Right.
We talked about that. Your children will be affected. Your loved ones will be affected. Your job, your ministry, if you're in ministry, your business, your dreams, your mind, your inner self. When you've built up some strength. We talked about the fire extinguisher. You built up some strength, but now when we decide to re-enter, because I've done it plenty of times. When we decide to re-enter a situation that has been destroyed, and we try to rebuild it. Man, talking about trouble.
Right.
And think about, I'm going to jump in, think about the wasted time, the wasted years, the feelings, the emotions. And we talk about here, this is refreshing fire. So a word to refresh you and remind you of your worth. It's not worth it to go back.
No, it never is.
My goodness, keep looking forward.
Yeah, it keep looking forward. It's never worth it to go back. And hence, if there's a temptation to go back to the burning building, that's just more confirmation that you still need healing. Right? Whenever there's a temptation to go back to toxicity, a temptation to go back to a burning building, that take that as confirmation that you are still in need of healing.
Right.
Take it from somebody, who knows.
Take it from the experience.
Yeah, take it from the experience, because when there was temptation for me to go back, right, knowing that going back is just that, going backward, right? To go backward, you're not moving forward.
Right.
So when it was temptation to go backward, that stood as confirmation for me. I still need some healing.
I had still some insecurity.
Right. There were still some unresolved issues, because it's not healthy. Toxicity is never healthy.
It's
poison. The word.
It's poison.
Right. It's poison. So if you are tempted to go backward, my friend, take that as confirmation that you stand in need of healing, and walk out your healing process so you can come to understand the truth of your worth. Because as we have stated, you are valuable. You are worth the time and effort to go through the healing process so that you can be used to help another who is where you are right now.
Right. Yeah. Use your experience to help someone else. And I was thinking as you were speaking, there are many that can testify or witness to the fact that once you have exited that place, that situation, many of you have stayed away. Mm-hmm. But there's many who went back and never made it out.
Right.
And that's our concern here today.
Yes.
That you don't re-enter and lose your way. You don't re-enter and lose your life. You don't re-enter and lose your mind. You don't re-enter and lose your children. And that's all we have for today. We appreciate you again for tuning in to Sweet Fire, the podcast. Peace be to you. Peace be to your house. And peace be to all you.